Hello, welcome to Town Hall. I am your host, Meredith Lilly, and I am so excited that you are here today. Thank you for being with us over the last few weeks. I know it has been crazy. We've had a lot of election coverage, and now we are on the other side of things, and you are back. So thank you. Again, I hope you have used this show as a tool for our community to take back necessary information just to help our community. Well, today I am not going to let you down. We have three dynamic, brilliant sisters. I'm so happy to have them on today. Welcome, let's welcome everybody. We have Mary Hector, who's the Georgia Black Youth Coordinator. Mary Peck, say hey to everybody. I'm so happy that you are on. We have Erica Pines, a political strategist. Hey, Erica, thank you for joining us again. You were here with us last week. And we have Helen Butler from the People's Agenda, who's a foot soldier. Helen's been marching the state all year long, all the years long. So again, thank you, ladies. Welcome to the hall.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, so thank you. So I'm so happy that you all are here. We have all worked together in some capacity on the ground throughout the years and have all of you all on at one time. So I'm just going to jump into the conversation just for the sake of time. I want to know, and I'll start with you, Miss Helen Butler. What are your thoughts regarding the election?
I am just so happy. Yes, people exercise their right to vote. Didn't matter what barriers they encountered, they persevered, and we are here.
Yes. Erica, what are your thoughts?
Nervous. Georgia did well with the presidential election. As we know, we're running into a Senate runoff, and I'm already hearing about all of this money that the Republicans are planning to raise to defeat us January 5th. So kind of nervous.
I got you. So you haven't really had a time to just breathe yet because your mind has gone straight to the Senate races.
Yes. And and not straight to the Senate, because remember, we still have 3 special elections on December 1st here. We have a 5th congressional district race. We have a PSC statewide race, and then we have a Senate race. So we're still working. I haven't had a chance to sleep yet. We're still working.
That's right. Mary Peck Hector. Now, what's going on? How do you feel about this election?
I was extremely happy to see so many young people show up. I think a lot of people doubted their engagement and their turnout, and I have been yelling on these calls for months. The young people will not disappoint us. They're gonna show up, and they did. Beyond just showing up, I saw so many young people on election day working as election protection monitors. We were all in the field. I even remember calling Miss Butler saying, "Miss Butler, where are all the people? There are no lines, like we're out here scared," but they all early voted, which made me happy as well. And, I was just stunned by just how much young people were involved in this entire process beyond just casting their ballots. But I mean, even when I went to early vote, I saw young people with tattoos and chains on, working as poll monitors. And that is what I love to see right here in the state of Georgia. So I was so happy to just see them engaged and they made this process their own.
Yeah, it's been so excited. I am actually traveling through Portland, Oregon, or through the state of Butte, Oregon. And was it Saturday night when we got the great news? I hit the streets and I danced safely. I had on my mask, but we danced and we partied all night long. And it was just beautiful to see how everybody was so happy. Now, with all of this happiness, all that's going on, Erica, I'll start with you. My cousin made a point when we were out there dancing. She said, the other side just seems so quiet right now, and I'm nervous. She said, no one is bothering us. We're partying. Is that making you nervous a little bit? I know you already touched on being nervous, Erica, but what are you thinking?
Okay, several things. One, Donald Trump keeps talking about the polling was off. Well, Mr. President, the polling is off because people didn't want to admit again that they were voting for you. So I think that people are quiet because they don't want to admit that they actually voted for him again. Because I poll races all the time. My polls are pretty accurate, but he's never on those polls. So I think people are quiet, one, because they know that he was a disaster of a president, and two, they're kind of embarrassed to show support. So they have to be in militia style and combat style before they'll even show support for him. So I think it's kind of a relief. While the opposition doesn't care about quote unquote liberals, it's kind of a relief, I think, throughout the country that they don't have to hold their breath every time they listen to the man that they elected to be president speak or tweet. They don't have to wake up in the morning wondering, I hope he hasn't done anything disastrous. What makes me nervous are just the U.S. Senate races. But we did see a lot of we're pissed that Trump lost going on, because I think even though they voted for him, they're breathing a sigh of relief right now, because in the bottom of my heart, I really don't think that he represented the entire Republican Party. I think that he represented a small fragment of the Republican Party.
And just to add to that, I think, and it's just my belief too, I think what also helped the drama to not be there is the time. So, we didn't find out on election night who actually won. And I think when you start putting time in the middle of that, it kind of slow down things. People can come out angry, but then when you have people have time to actually think about their actions before they do it, they're like, okay, hold on, let me just go back in the house before I go outside and start acting up. Miss Helen Butler, what are your thoughts? Are you nervous about anything? Is it too quiet for you?
It's not too quiet for me. I think that people are just doing a sigh of relief that, hey, we've had this build up for elections. I know I have 7 offices across the state, and we have people working in the community, and everybody was just geared toward this election cycle. And then on November the 3rd, after it was over, everyone said, whoo, let me relax for a minute. But we know coming up, as Erica said, there's 2 Senate seats. And of course, we have the runoff for statewide offices. So we haven't stopped. We're already geared up this morning to be back in the streets to register people to vote for January. We're getting ready with our phone banks, our text banks. We're making sure all of those people who had to cast provisional ballots know where they need to go now. We're educating people, getting them ready, because one of our themes was, are you vote ready? And so we want people to be vote ready. We want them to know you can request your absentee ballot right now. Be safe. Do that now. Get ready for this second part of the election. Yeah, we've had a lot of them, but yeah, it means so much. And I think COVID has told everyone that there's a connection between public policy and voting. They get it now. They understand why it's critical, why they didn't get a stimulus package, the second stimulus package, because elected officials didn't make it happen. The Senate didn't make it happen. So it's critical that they get Senate people that are going to make sure that their rights are protected and they receive their tax money back in their communities. So whether it's census, whether it's the stimulus, whatever it might be, they understand that connectivity. And people are just excited right now and saying, whoo, let me relieve, but we got more work to do.
That's right. Let me go to you, Mary Pack Hector, because I met you when you were running for office. I think you were one of the youngest people ever, maybe in the state, to run for office at such a young age. I think you were at Spelman College at the time, a freshman at Spelman College. I was so impressed by your maturity, because I definitely was not as mature as you were at your age. And so I was so impressed with you. What have you learned specifically about this president that could help you when you get ready to run again, because we will see you again? So what have you learned throughout the years, and specifically from this presidential race?
No vote unturned. I think that was something that I've never seen. Now, mind you, this is my second presidential election. Really being able to physically see and be a part of, just the ongoing process, but leave no vote unturned. in 2016, so many Black people were saying we wish we had more messaging, and like people really targeted us more. And this time we're hearing the same thing come from the Latinx community. And so I think it's important for us to leave no vote unturned. I will also say that I enjoyed seeing the ads and the commercials and the different things that young people and organizations were doing to really get out the vote and like innovative ways and ideas to even get people registered. So I think, you know, just understanding that it's important to focus on voters who vote every time, but it's also important to engage people who are often not even thought about in the campaigning process.
Now, let me run over here the lines real quick. Erica, let me ask you this. The numbers were close. They were very close. Y'all, we were sitting on edge for a few days. I mean, none of us slept. So Erica, how do you feel about the numbers being so close? Like, do we have some work to do in the Democratic Party? What's going on?
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. I know we're talking about national politics, but Georgia kind of lost on Tuesday. We have reapportionment coming up next legislative session, which starts January, and we don't control the House or the Senate, the state, and that's going to hurt us. But it was close. We saw that we won the presidency in urban areas. And now that we go back out for these two very important runoffs that can give our president some really good power with what we need to get done to overturn some of the craziness that happened the last 4 years, it's going to be tough because we have to re-energize these urban areas. And because it was so close, getting people back out to a runoff in January where we could in Atlanta, we could be 85 degrees. Well, in Georgia, 85 degrees, or we could be 32 degrees. So that's going to be an uphill battle because we haven't had a very successful track record in runoffs in the state when we're dealing with statewide campaigns. So we have to do some very, very, very direct voter contact. And as Miss Mary Pat mentioned, we can't just go after traditional voters. We have to go after everybody, and it's going to take several touches to those everybody. So it's going to be a long 1.5, 2 months going into this thing. It's going to be a long couple of weeks because the work is going to triple in our efforts. And all eyes are on Georgia, and all money is coming to Georgia. And we'll see whether that money goes on the ground or will it just be a bunch of folks that's coming in our state telling us what we can do when we didn't need them in our state telling us what we can do when we became a battleground state and flipped blue. So I just have my popcorn ready and my eyes open and my boots on because I'm going to do what I'm going to do with or without a certain structure. So I'll turn out those folks that I know that I can get out, and we'll see what the rest of the state does.
That's good. Now, Miss Helen Butler, I'm gonna come back to you for a second. You've been out there for years. You've helped me when I was the state director for President Obama. I remember you, Reverend Laurie, coming down to Albany and setting up booths and voter registration everywhere I've been, you know. And so I appreciate you. It's so funny because the Stacey Abrams gave you a shout out. Mary Peck Hector gave you a shout out the other day on Instagram and Twitter. And so I had my best friend from New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, call and said, "Now who is Miss Helen Butler? I see the name. Who is Miss Helen Butler? I want to know who this Miss Helen Butler is." And I see her name on several things. So tell me who she is. And I started going in and she said, "Wow." So I knew Miss Helen Butler. Tell people what you've been working on for the last few years. For people, our listeners, you know, we have thousands of listeners on this show, people from all across the world. Tell them we know who you are. We know how much we love you in this state. Tell people in California and New Jersey and Arizona who you are and what you've been working on for the last 20, 30 years.
Well, thank you, Meredith. I have to say, I've been working with these young ladies, these brilliant young ladies, Erica and Mary Pat, for years, and you too. But the People's Agenda was formed out by Dr. Lowry and so many other civil rights leaders. And mainly what we do is civic engagement. We register, we try to educate, we mobilize, We protect that right to vote. If you look at anything, we look at policy changes with regards to the right to vote. Dr. King, Dr. Lowry, all of them got the 1965 voting rights protections in place for us, and they are being chiseled away, So our main mission is to ensure every person is registered, can exercise their right to vote, and hold their elected officials accountable. So we're doing a lot of things. We do criminal justice reform, we do education, we do environment, we do healthcare, we do economic empowerment. We work on women's issues, we work on youth issues. That's why I have great person like Mary Pat that's here. And we work with people in the community that have been there, like Erica, forever, working to make our communities better. So that's what the People's Agenda is all about. Like I said, we have 7 offices across the state: Atlanta, Albany, Augusta, Athens, Savannah, Macon, and LaGrange. And we're looking to build this statewide infrastructure, because that was the vision of Dr. Lowry, to bring all groups together that can work on an issue. Because what he said, when you poke with one finger as an organization, you can have a little effect, but when all of us come together and bring that force of power together, we can achieve anything. And that's what that has culminated in. And I wish he and C.T. Vivian, Rita Samuels, John Lewis had been here, but I know they're all looking down, Mrs. Lowry, Mrs. Abernathy. I know they're all looking down and saying, great, our work has come to fruition. And we have left it in great hands like Erica, like Mary Pat, like Meredith. So we know it's going to continue. And that's what we're all about.
Yes, and I just want to take the time to say thank you, because so many young people, and we always say we're tired, but watching you work over the years, we don't have the right to. We just don't. I've never seen you or heard you say you're tired, and I know you are. You go across this state. I mean, you be driving. I think you have a nephew sometimes, and you'll
Yes.
be all over the place. And so we don't have a right to be tired. And so coming back to you, Mary Pastor, have you learned from people like Helen Butler? What are you learning every day? I see you moving. I see you all the time, and I'm proud of you. And I appreciate you pulling a lot of young people in. So what are you learning across the state now, and as you work with Miss Helen Butler?
Miss Helen is extremely humble. So like you said, Miss Meredith, every time I call Miss Butler prior to the pandemic, she was literally in Albany, Augusta, literally six days out of a 7-day week. She was not at home. She was literally all across the state, working to engage voters on the grounds. But it's women like Mrs. Helen, like Melanie Campbell, like Tamika Mallory, who really inspire me to keep going, and really mentor me and show me just how to organize. I think it's very important, as a young woman growing into this space, to kind of learn from those really before me and that are still doing the work. And so whenever I have questions about anything voting, I know to call Mrs. Helen. And when I see people doing that, I say, when I see people who also need like assistance, I say, call Mrs. Helen. But you mentioned a tweet, and I have to acknowledge the fact that oftentimes as Black women, our work is not highlighted. Or oftentimes, we, don't like to say, these are the amazing things that I've done. And so, I thought it was important for me to highlight women like Miss Butler, like Insay, like Tamika Atkins and Deborah, who I see and have seen for years, who I admire, that are doing that work. And so, I'm so happy that the world is finally, being able to see that Georgia is a force to be reckoned with, and that Black women in general. I think that's also a tone that this election set.
Yes, and just being out in Portland in the streets the other night dancing, a lot of people had signs that said, "Thank you, Black women. You helped us." You say, "Thank you, Black women." I think it was only 4 Black women out there. My cousin and I, or 4 Black people, and the 2 DJs. We were the only 4 Black people that were there. And just to see signs where people saying, "Thank you, Black people, you saved us." And then walking into a donut shop, the Blue Star, which is famous in Oregon, and we said that we were out of town, and they said, "Where from?" And I said, "Atlanta, Georgia," and they started screaming, and they gave us free donuts,
Oh, wow.
because they said we saved the race, we saved the race, and they hugged us and they took pictures with us, and that was amazing. So, Erica, my question to you: what are we missing? You're a strategist. Do we need how I mean like what me and you we get on the phone and we talk for hours about things that we need to do, things that need to happen. How do we better organize? What do John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock need to do? Is there a missing key? So what do you think, Erica, we need to be working on?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to give all praise and love and respect to Miss Helen Butler. You are just an inspiration, and I fully am aware that that I'm standing on the shoulders of those who came before me, those who are here now in this presence with me. I stand on those shoulders, including those of Miss Butler, and you do it with such grace and poise. I think I wouldn't say what we're missing. What we need to talk about more are those issues. We saw that this presidential election was ran in urban areas. For those 3 to 4 days that we were waiting on those results, every state we were looking at the urban areas, the urban core where Black folks live. So that's why people are telling us thank you. So we can't run away from those issues that matter most to us. You had Mr. Biden, President Biden, having a platform for Black Americans. You have people talking about Black Lives Matter. We try to say that those issues divide us, but they don't. They bring us together. We are the strongest voting bloc for the Democratic Party. People can talk about how many Black men, which percentage went and voted for Trump, but hey, 83% stuck with him. Name me another demographic, as our friend Roland Martin said, that sticks with a political party like Black people. So I just think we can't continue to run away from issues that matter most for us. I think that we as a people have to keep standing up for those issues. I heard John Ossoff on the trail. The man started sounding like Dr. King a little bit in some of his speeches. I was like, whoa, look at how much he's matured and grown over the past 4 years. And I see him in Southwest Atlanta, and I see him in DeKalb County. But we have to get to the ground, to where the people are, and listen and learn and talk. And we just have to, I don't know what we're missing. I do know that the Republicans want to protect Georgia in the Senate because they want power over the next 4 years. So I just think that as the organizing comes, we have to take the organizing to the street. The organizing has to be on the ground. GOTV does not mean get on TV. It means get out in the field and get voters to the polls. So I know that Helen Butler and New Georgia Project and all of those folks will be mobilizing people on the ground, but we need everybody coming into this state mobilizing people on the ground. Running a TV ad is not going to get these people to the poll, because this is a second layer of politics. And a lot of times you see massive numbers because it's dealing with that top layer.
Thank you, thank you. That's excellent that you brought that up, Erica. And just because you said President Biden's name, I want to circle back around, or President-elect Biden's name. How did you all feel about the speech the other night? The speeches the other night from President-elect Biden, President-elect Vice President, I mean, President, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. So how did y'all feel about the speeches the other night? I mean, I can start with you, Mary Pat Hector.
I want to say that I think it was the first time that the Black community was highlighted during a moment like that. And I think it just shows where we're going in this country. I believe that there were some things promised throughout the campaign trail and really pinpointed in the speech itself that I think Black people will be waiting for him to deliver on. But I do think that it felt great to just be acknowledged as people in this country who've worked so hard for so long. But then also to just see Kamala Harris, who is the first woman vice president-elect, who is the first Black woman vice president-elect. I think she even mentioned in a town hall, she's the first of many things. So it's no surprise to me that, we're going to be in good hands. But we also need to realize that the work must continue. And there will be some times where, we will have to hold them accountable in love. And I think we're all prepared to do that.
Yes. Miss Butler.
Well, I was, just thrilled to see, as Mary Pat said, here is the first Black VP ever. When you look at the history and nothing but white males, it was just amazing. And it just gave me chills when she walked out on that stage, just to see her. And then to hear those speeches, I just said, now this is what democracy is all about, having diverse voices, making sure everyone is represented. And I was just thrilled.
Yes. Erica Pines.
I was leaving a meeting, I was leaving a brunch, and it was actually a brunch dealing with the next generation of our future. Walk out of the brunch, the numbers came in, we were elated. I was in Midtown Atlanta, got in my car, had my African Americans for Biden poster in my car, put it through the sunroof, decided to drive by 10th and 14th, 10th and Piedmont, because I knew they would be going crazy over there. And as I was driving, I just got choked up, like really, really choked up and very emotional. And as far as the speeches, it was very historic for people of color. But the speeches, I just hope that the nation can heed the message. We don't have to be in the same political party and have all of the same ideals, but let's try to work together and let's try to unify. I think that President-elect Biden is pushing that message, and I really think it's starting to resonate. But let's try to unify. Let's try to get something done, because even though we have been a two-party system, I've never seen it this divisive and this vicious before in my young life of almost 49 years. But I think people kind of want to see the parties work together. So.
Okay, and so let me just ask y'all, President Trump right now hasn't really said much other than, the tweets, but and some people yesterday, as I was driving through Oregon, I saw Trump parades. We saw people on the side of the road saying that it's not over. He's going to stay in. He's going to be there. Do y'all foresee any drama with getting President Trump out the White House? Do you foresee any type of mess, or do you think it may just be a smooth transition? I'll start with you, Ms. Pines, Erica Pines.
Okay, I don't care if there's drama. I would actually like to see him kicked out the White House. So make my day. I would love to see him evicted, but I don't think there's going to be drama, because if you notice, he only has like a handful of surrogates who are still talking what he's talking. The rest of the party has moved on, and I think there will be pressure on him to have a smooth transition, because now that party has to go back and figure things out and figure out how do they get their electorate back, because he's been so polarizing. So I don't anticipate drama, but if we had to physically evict him, I'm okay with that also.
Well, let me go ahead, Ms. Helen Butler.
Oh, Meredith, I was just going to say, I don't think it's going to be any problems. And I just want to say that I've enjoyed being on this show with these young ladies, telling about all of their great work. And I don't want to look back at that. I think we're moving forward, and the Constitution says he has to leave. So he's going to leave.
That's right. And let me jump in, and I'm glad you said that, Ms. Butler, because this is what I want as we close out this show today. This first segment, we'll be doing segments all week. What can people be doing right now, Ms. Butler, as we look forward, as we try to win these other Senate seats, as we try to go throughout the country? What can people be doing right now to get involved?
Right now, they can work they can work on people's campaigns. They can come work for nonpartisan organizations to help educate people. Register people right now, because you can register up until December the 7th. So we want people registering to vote, and you can vote in the runoff election, even though you didn't vote in the November 3rd election. If you have provisional ballot issues, cure them right now. Call us at 866 our vote. We'll get it happen, help you to get it cured. So we want you to vote early, vote absentee, vote by mail. Be safe with it. Do just like you did November the 3rd. Show up in record numbers. Don't let anyone take your power away from you, because your vote is your power. You can do this now. Again, be vote ready. We want you to register to vote. We want you to be educated about the candidates. We want you to, again, vote in by mail, vote in person early, vote on election day, December 1st or either January 5th. So we want people to be engaged, but go out and volunteer. We need election protection monitors. So please do that.
So much. And so how I like to end all of my, wait, Erica, did you have something else to add to that? It looked like you were about
No,
to
I
say
just
something.
say everything that Ms. Butler said, and do what Black women do. We, our family, we had a group text, post the peach, and if you weren't posting that peach, we were on you. You know, Black women, we push everybody to the polls. So I say, Black women, keep doing what you do and just push everybody back January 5th.
That's right. Mary Pack, before I close out, did you have anything to add to what they just said?
I would have to say the fight continues. I would hate for us to lose this momentum. In the state of Georgia right now, the country is listening to us. And I think it's very, very important for us to show up and show out like we did during the presidential election. If you're a young person, it's not too late. You can still work to become a poll worker. You can be trained through orgs like the Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda to be an election protection monitor. And let's just do this thing.
That's right. And so when I close out, y'all, every week, I like to close out by asking each of my, what is their favorite Black business of the week, or your favorite Black nonprofit, or just shouting out somebody Black that's on your heart. So I'm going to start with Erica Pines. What is your Black business of the week, or you just want to shout out somebody this week?
I'm just gonna shout out because it's on my mind, because we were having this conversation last night. Sisters by Choice, that deal with breast cancer, and in particular the type of cancer that affects Black women the most. So that's my shout out, my Black shout out for the week, Sisters by Choice.
Yes, I love Sisters by Choice and what they're doing in our community. I'll go to you, Mary Pachter. What is your Black business of the week?
My Black business of the week is Mason Super Dogs. He is a 14-year-old business owner in Decatur County, Georgia, and the youngest business owner in the state of restaurant owner in the state of Georgia, at the age of 14. So Mason Super Dogs.
Thank you. And I will end with Miss Helen Butler. What is your Black business of the week?
Well, I was going to say Mason because that's my favorite too, but I'm going to go with the Busy Bee. I love the Busy Bee. So the Busy Bee is my business of the week.
I love the Busy Bee as well. So I'll just shout out their neighbor, Pascals, because I'm always there as well. So thank you, ladies, for coming on today. 3 different generations on to bring us a wealth of knowledge. I just so appreciate them for always being foot soldiers in our state, in our community. And I hope today everyone learned a lot. Take those jewels back into our community. And like Miss Helen Butler said, your vote is your power. Your vote is your power. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you have been enjoying Town Hall as much as I have. I appreciate the comments, the emails. I thank you so much. Keep sending the emails. I love hearing feedback, and I love hearing the encouragement from everybody. We're going to keep this show going as much as you all love it. We're going to keep it going. So thank you so much for joining us on Town Hall today. See you next
You're looking